It's Mac Wiseman on Country Music Time. Well, hello, and another great big howdy to you friends out there. This is Lieutenant Bill Jordan saying welcome to another 15 minutes of the finest in country picking and singing on Country Music Time. Brought to you right from the hometown of country music, Nashville, Tennessee, by your local Air Force recruiter and this radio station. Now here he is, the star of this week's show, Mac Wiseman.
They gave him his orders at Monroe, Virginia, saying, Steve, you're way behind time. This is not 38, but it's old 97. You must put her into center on time. He looked around and said to his black, greasy fireman, just shovel in a little more coal. And when we cross that white oak mountain, you can watch old 97 roll. It's a mighty rough road from Lynchburg to Danville on a line with a 3-mile grade. It was on that grade that he lost his average, and you see what a jump he made. They were going down the road making 90 miles an hour when a whistle broke into a scream. He was found in the wreck with his hand on the throttle and was scalded to death by the steam. Now, ladies, you must all take a warning from this time now and on. Never speak harsh words to your true loving husband. He may leave you and never return. Thank you. Thank you so very much, friends. Needless to say, it's a real pleasure to be here for the United States Air Force on Country Music Time. It's always a pleasure to have this opportunity to visit with you folks, and today we've got some old songs and a new one or two lined up. Hope that you'll enjoy what we've picked out for you. Got a wonderful guest coming along in just a few minutes, but right now, I like to do something that's a little bit different from anything I've done in a long time. It's one of my later releases for the Capitol folks called The Pistol Packin' Preacher. Well, back in the days when the West was young in 1883, there rode a man through the western land, a mighty man was he. He crossed the snow-capped mountains and with his pistol for a sword, built his church upon the hill and taught them fear of God. He rode into Dodge City on one cold December day. Some low-down son went for his gun, and the people all heard him say, no pistol-packing preacher is ever gonna back me down. But they laid him to rest as the sun went west, just a little bit north of town. This pistol-packing preacher, he was no timid creature. He brought law and order and the gospel to the land. Taught all about salvation to his Sunday congregation. This pistol-packing preacher was an humble man, but a mighty, mighty man was he, and a legend through the land. Like David slew Goliath, so with his pistol for a sling, he rid the town of bad men and the evil they would bring. Heal the sick, save their souls, he didn't spare the rod. Built his church upon the hill and taught them fear of God. This pistol-packing preacher, he was no timid creature. He brought law and order and the gospel to the land. Taught all about salvation to his Sunday congregation. This pistol packing preacher was an humble man. But a mighty, mighty man was he, and a legend through the land. There you have the story of the pistol packing preacher. Enough words than that to keep you busy for a while, busy as a preacher himself. We'll be back in just a very short time, but right now we'd like to stop for just a minute and listen to these words from your United States Air Force, from Lieutenant Bill Jordan.
Well, thank you very much. No group of people are of more vital importance to the continuance of our democratic way of life than those young people who are presently being graduated by our colleges and universities. That's the reason for the establishment of the Air Force Officer Training School. This school, open to college and university graduates, offers a 3-month course that leads to a commission as a second lieutenant in the Air Force. Each entering class has quotas for the various types of engineering graduates, plus those in administration and science. There are also quotas for men who qualify for pilot and navigator training. If you're a young man or woman interested in serving your country as an Air Force officer, you may be eligible for Air Force Officer Training School. Here's your chance to start off on a career of leadership in the aerospace age. For America's future and your own, join the United States Air Force. See or telephone your local Air Force recruiter.
Thank you for those fine words, Bill. And now, just as we promised you a while ago, neighbors, it's guest time, and today we have a fine guest. Always a pleasure to visit with this young man. He always does a fine job and has a fine song for you. Right now, if you will, let's welcome our very good friend, George Hamilton IV.
Thank you, Mac. It's a real pleasure to be here with you folks today. I'm especially happy to be in the studio with Billy Bird and Ray Eddington and Lightning Chance and Buddy Harmon and all the folks that recorded this next little song with me. I originally did it about 6 years ago on Colonial Records on the back of a song called A Rose and a Baby Ruth, and I don't think anybody heard it that time. So we re-recorded it again on RCA Victor, and I hope the folks will like it. Well, back in the country in my hometown, I'm the coolest, fastest man around. I got a hot rod car and you ought to see it run. I went out riding with a friend of mine. We started passing everybody way down the line, and I felt pretty good, and boy, we was having fun. Suddenly I didn't feel so fine, 'cause a highway cop pulled up behind. So I asked my friend if the cop was after me. He just sat there shaking all over like old Elvis Presley and said, well, if you don't know, I ain't gonna tell you, from now on it's up to you, fella. Words don't count at a time like this. There was a little blonde lived down on the corner. All the boys thought that she was a goner, so I got me a date and we went for a ride one night. We rode along and I held her hand. I felt just like a grown-up man till she slid over close and hugged me up real tight. I started to stop and get out and run, but I didn't want to miss out on all the fun, so I asked her to teach me to spoon beneath the moon. She just looked up at me and winked them big, beautiful blue eyes and said, well, if you don't know, I ain't gonna tell you, from now on it's up to you, fella. Words don't count at a time like this. Yippee! Sort of a letdown, ain't I? I finally wised up and I learned all the tricks, and now I'm the coolest cat in the sticks, and I've got more gals than anybody else I know. I drink white lightning and I travel mighty far. I like pretty gals and souped-up cars. I'm a traveling man and I'm always on the go. There's some Mountain Dew being sold in town, and the sheriff's been hunting all around, but nobody knows who the manufacturer is. You ask me why I drive a hot rod coupe deluxe with 3 carburetors, souped up engine, high compression head, straight stick shift, and overdrive? Yeah. If you don't know, I ain't gonna tell you, from now on it's up to you, fella. I think you know just what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes. See what I promised you? Mighty fine, George Hamilton. Very fine indeed. Real glad you dropped by today. Needless to say, the trends in music change from time to time, and this next song that I would like to do for you friends is one I used to do a long time back. And then, of course, we had quite a change in trends when the rock and roll era came along, and I'm very pleased indeed it seems that folks are taking time to listen to lyrics of a song again. Therefore, I'd like to do this one that, even though it's quite a sad song, it tells a true story, having happened some years ago up in the hills of Pennsylvania, the story of the baggage coach ahead. On a dark, stormy night, as the train rattled on, all the passengers had gone to bed, except one young man with a babe in his arms, who sat with a bowed down head. The innocent one began crying, as though its poor heart would break. Make that child stop its noise, one angry man said, for it's keeping all of us away. Put it out, said another, don't keep it in here. We've paid for our berths and won't rest. But never a word said the man with the child, as he fondled it close to his breast. Where is its mother? Go take it to her. A maiden then softly said, I wish that I could, was the man's sad reply, but she's dead in the coach ahead. While the train rolled onward, a husband sat in tears, thinking of the happiness of just a few short years. Baby's face brings pictures of a cherished hope that's dead, but baby's cries can't waken her in the baggage coach ahead. Friends, that just about winds it up for today. If you'd like to write to us, please do so, addressing your correspondence to Mac Wiseman in care of Country Music Time, Recruiting Support Center, 207 West 24th Street, New York, 11, New York. That's Mac Wiseman in care of Country Music Time, Recruiting Support Center, 207 West 24th Street, New York, 11, New York.
Listening to Country Music Time with Mac Wiseman, brought to you by your local Air Force recruiter in cooperation with this radio station. Country Music Time came to you from Nashville, Tennessee, and was produced by the Recruiting Support Center in New York City. Technical direction by Sergeant Jack Dolan. This is Lieutenant Bill Jordan saying thanks again to Bluegrass Mac, and reminding you that for complete information on the Air Force and the aerospace age, see or contact your Air Force recruiter.